Have you ever had something happen and you visually saw it, you heard it, and you just couldn't get it out of your mind? It was like a movie that just played over and over and over and over, and you didn't know how to get rid of it? I'm going to show you a very simple way that you can use to eliminate that movie, and a great story of a couple that one did it, one didn't, and they had immediately different results. So we've all been through trauma. We've all been through challenges. And the more graphic it is visually or auditory, the more it impacts this part of our brain called the brainstem or a subconscious. And it can show up at almost any point in time and have a big impact on many things going on in our present life. I'm going to show you the technique. I use it frequently, and then I want to share a couple of stories because it's always exciting to hear how practical it is for many different things. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take your hand, your fingers, it doesn't matter which hand you use, but you're just going to rub across here like a big eraser. In fact, that's what I call this reset, the big eraser. And while I'm erasing whatever it is, I'm going to walk you through it. I'm thinking of that situation, the images, the sound, and erase, 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 erase. I've even used it at night if I wake up thinking about a certain situation that was very traumatic. Erase, 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 erase. So I'm going to share something with me. I'm not going to go into all the details because it wouldn't be appropriate, but I remember something that was very traumatic to our family, and it took me several years to get over it, but I did it in stages. It's not like one day it was bad and the next day it was gone. It was a process because letting go of things is a process. It's not usually, can be, a one-time event. So in this situation, some trauma had happened, and it seemed like at night I'd wake up and I'd see the person, I'd hear their voice, I'd hear the hurtful things that were said to family members. And while I was in bed, I would just go, I just erase that image. I erase the picture, I erase all the sound, I just erase it. And God, I give it to you because I don't want that movie, I don't want that image, I don't want those words, I don't want those sounds. I just erase. Now, I was imagining what it was like back then, but if you were noticing, I sighed. When we sigh or when we yawn, that's an example of our body saying, I can let it go. Because you can't just instigate a sigh or a yawn very easily, but the body will very simply and easily do it when it's letting things go, when it's releasing. So I remember a couple I had in my office, and they were coming in for a specific appointment, but they had just been at their neighbor's, a very close friend, and walked in, and he was dead. He was laying on the floor, and it was pretty horrific. And after they left it happened to be the day for this appointment, and they walked in, and I said, clearly this has really impacted you. How about if we just do the big eraser? I explained it to them, and she was sitting over here and he was sitting here. A very, very, very successful businessman, very, very, very logical. And he said, that's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There's just no way that's going to erase what I just witnessed. And I said, that's fine. Don't do it. And I sat there and talked to his wife because she was open. She was hurting. She didn't want that image. So we just did this, and she did it with me. And I just said, as whatever you're seeing, whatever you're feeling, whatever you're hearing, just erase it and give it to the Lord. Lord, I give you all those images, everything I saw that happened to my dear friend. And she just sat there and talked through it, erasing, 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 erasing. And she said, I'll use the name Joe. That wasn't her husband. She said, Joe, I'm feeling much better. I'm not feeling, it's just unusual, but I'm not feeling like I did when I walked in. And he said, well, that's just dumb. And I said, well, the good news is you don't have to do it. You can stay right where you are. And we'll say Susan. That's not her name either. Susan's getting some relief. You always have a choice. You see, letting go of something that hurts is a choice. It's a choice. And if something as easy as a big eraser can begin to dial down the trauma that impacts all your senses, your sensory area in your brain called the thalamus. That's taking in so much sensory data and it's storing it. And sometimes that's not helpful. When we see accidents or there's so many things that could go on. I don't need to say them because I don't want to trigger anyone. But I recognize that one person chose to erase it and one person chose to keep it. It's actually a very good lesson for all of us because you can't make someone become free of what weighs them down. People always have a choice. And not only do people always have a choice, God gave us choice. He said, I set before you life or death. And by the way, if you forget and don't know, choose life. Anytime you can let go of the impact of trauma, of images, of sounds, of emotions, you're doing so much to help your entire being, spirit, soul, and body, be healthier. So why don't you give it a try? It's pretty easy. I'm sure you can think of at least one trauma. It might be, again, I'm not going to say because I don't want to trigger you, but you can think of things that have happened to you in your life that you don't want to carry that image anymore. So if you have enjoyed this, you can check out the next video that's offered to you because we're here at Lifestyle for Health to help you discover simple resets to get things out of your subconscious brainstem, get you free to operate in your frontal lobe, your spirit, your soul, to really be the whole person God created you to be. Love to hear what you experience as you try that. Love to hear your comments because that blesses us to see that what we have learned over decades in our lives and in working with others helps someone like you. Go play with this, have fun, can't hurt you, cost you nothing. It's very easy, and you just might become a professional big eraser.